20 Chasing Ghosts, or by my favorite and more appropriate title, What is Going On? So I'm not really going to talk about the case that much because there's one scene that I really want to talk about, and you can probably guess what scene that is. I just could not find myself getting into as many times as I watched the episode. I just could not seem to get into it. From what I'm understanding, it was about a husband and a woman who cut off fingers and helped a guy fake his death. If that's what you do when your second restaurant fails in 5 years, God, I hate to see what Blockbuster has been up to. I think the case was basically just there to serve as parallels for Ziva and to consume some time before we really get into the finale arc. So, not much to say about it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't thrilling. I think it was a bad case of wrong place, wrong time. I think if this was earlier in the season, if it had its own episode, it could have been more intriguing, but there was just too much going on. Oh, and we also find out that part-time autopsy gremlin, part-time Abercrombie model is now also becoming a part-time psychologist. I also love that Gibbs is now treating Palmer with more respect. Like, he compliments him on his career, which I love. Character development. We also see the return of Tom Morrow, which I think is a really fun name because it's literally tomorrow. So all throughout this episode, we have different government agencies coming to Vance and basically saying, you need to tell Ziva to calm herself. How does Vance respond? We'll get back to that. At the end of the case, we're at a bus station. The wife storms away, and this is where it gets intense. From this point on, this episode is incredibly epic. What starts us off is the holy grail of all looks between Tony and Ziva. Basically, this. We've also gone from Ziva being called a sweet little innocent furry Israeli to crying tiger beef. I think we're in the middle of some strange Pokemon evolution right now. So then, basically what happens is the case is over. It's only Tony and Gibbs in the bullpen. Tony has been worried sick this whole episode with his pen clicking, which I think is now his new little tick for whenever he's worried about Ziva, which I love and I hope we see more of because it's adorable and lovely and beautiful. But Denozo kind of consults Gibbs, which is perfect again. And then Gibbs asks if he's worried about her, and Denozo nods a little bit, and then he's like, go find her now. Gibbs, aka Cupid. So then Denozo goes to Abby's lab and is like, McGee is not here, I need you to help me find Ziva. And after this face he uses to beg and plead kills me, you can see just how much he cares about her and how desperately he wants to find her. And it's so amazing. Tony was a bit obsessive this episode, but I don't consider it a bad thing. I don't think it was ever super over the top. And I think he had very valid reasoning behind it. I think the way he was acting was justified, because he has seen her in Aliyah where she completely took off and everything just fell apart. So I think definitely his concern was justified and the way he acted was validated. Tony, with the help of Abby, finds Ziva, and I wasn't super off on this theory. He was talking to Abby instead of McGee. So basically, he gets to the door, he knocks, Ziva opens it, Denozo's like, I want to help, and then before anything else can be said, McGee comes out and is like, is that the food? Is that how she answers the door for the food delivery man? Darn it, woman, this is the 5th week in a row. I really think if you took this scene out of context, you would think you were witnessing a man walking in on his wife to find that she was cheating on him with his brother. Because even with the scene in context, that's what I feel like I was watching. I was like, listen, McSass, you can get your mixed self and your Thai food out of here. Things are gonna get ugly, you feel me? But then I realized that Ziva does have some good reasons to going to him first, because he is a computer genius, and that would help her track. He does not react to her problems the way Tony does. While Tony tries to pressure her into talking about it, McGee lets it go. McGee accepts it. Also, DiNozzo would most likely have tried to talk her out of it, which she does not want. And last time he found out about something like this, he followed her to Somalia and they all almost got killed. So I think she's very worried about what telling Tony would do. Plus, she was also intending on telling him eventually. The difficult thing here about their relationship is that Tony and Ziva deal with love in different ways. When Tony loves someone, he wants to bring them closer, and when Ziva loves someone, she wants to push them away. She's even said before that those who get too close always end up getting hurt, and I think that's the reason why she tried to keep Tony at arm's length. But he's not seeing that. That's the issue here. There's two things that get me really upset about this scene. One being DiNozzo's reaction, two being McGee's attitude throughout this whole episode. DiNozzo was so worried about Ziva this entire time, and he really does care for her, and I think that was very apparent when he went to McGee. And McGee didn't really do anything to calm him down. He just said, like, you're borderline stalking, like, basically, this is creepy, back off. And then DiNozzo has to walk in and finds out that McGee has been helping her all along. Also, DiNozzo's reaction. He does not see what I just explained about why she went to McGee first. He's basically seeing this as she trusts him more, she does not care enough about me to tell me first. His face totally betrays him when he comes in that door because he looks so angry and hurt and like he's just been punched in the stomach because this woman who I'm gonna say it, he loves, just went to another man first before consulting him because he has been so worried and now he has to find out that this is what was happening. And then just like that, the mask goes back on, he starts joking around, but it's still there. You can see it in the way he talks, and I think Ziva sees it too. He's so angry and upset, and I really hope this gets discussed in Berlin. Also, when Ziva's discussing the places they've spotted Bodnar, they basically list every location except Berlin, which is peculiar for some obvious reasons. And then we get this super epic scene in the bullpen, and everything about it is insane. The way that no one's talking, the way they're communicating purely through silence is fantastic. Then we find out that Gibbs has known all along, so poor DiNozzo and Abby were basically the only ones in the dark. She asked for his permission to go to Berlin, and Gibbs is like, yeah, sure, take DiNozzo with you. When DiNozzo finds out he's going to Berlin with Ziva, he looks pretty calm, but I think it's safe to assume there was some pretty intense fangirl streaking going on inside. And then we get this super well done, fantastic, dramatic camera shot where she's walking away and it swirls around her and she sees Vance, and then Vance is like, you do what you gotta do, homegirl. The epic music is playing in the background and then we poof and it's a cliffhanger. What is going on? I feel like everyone is agreeing with her at an alarmingly fast rate. Just in Shiva, everyone was like, no revenge. Now Tony's really the only one being the voice of reason in this situation. Tony's really the only one pointing out the dangers of the situation. And if you looked in the background of her lair, clubhouse, fortress of justice, whatever you want to call it, she had pictures of her dead father plastered all over the wall. And it's so disturbing, and no one's pointing that out to her except Tony. No one's saying this is not healthy except him. Even Director Vance, a man that runs an entire government agency, is agreeing with this. He's taking everything that everyone else said and all the demands and commands and advice they gave and saying, cute, but no. And I don't know if that makes him a BAMF or a really bad decision maker. He is on her side, and I guess in Ziva's eyes it looks like everyone else is siding with her except Tony, but he's doing it out of love. He's doing it because he cares. There's just so much that needs to be discussed in Berlin, and there's so many Aliyah parallels. While in Aliyah they did have all these same conflicts, but in Berlin they actually get the chance to talk it out, which I think is going to make a world of difference. I also think DiNozzo and McGee need to talk it out because when he walked in that room, I could have sworn there was going to be a fight. I'm like, love triangle forming? What? But that's literally what it felt like, and I could have sworn some punches were going to be thrown because that's how angry everyone looked. Everything about this whole arc is just epic in every possible definition. All the spoilers we've gotten, and Berlin, it's going to be so intense, and I just cannot wait to discuss it with you guys. we do have another hiatus before Berlin. Yeah, of course. We have Berlin, Revenge, Double Blind, and season finale, Damned If You Do. I can't wait. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Aaliyah arc, I don't know how you guys would know this, because I've never told you. The Aaliyah arc is my favorite of all time, and I just cannot wait. I love the whole Israeli storyline every time it comes around, and the one thing that concerns me is with Eli's death, I'm wondering if this will be the last time we really get that type of storyline. And it's my favorite, so I really hope not. This is a complete 180, and they're doing it so well, and everything is leading up to something. And I'll let you guess what that is. I have my own opinions, you have yours, we're all entitled to them. I just can't wait to see where we are taken with this whole arc. Berlin is going to be awesome. Unless they're not in Berlin, then this is a really poorly chosen episode title. Unless they mean the Berlin walls are coming down, like the walls between Tony and Ziva's relationship, because that would be nice. Try and stay calm, but I don't know how you would do that because I'm already miserably failing. So I can't wait for Berlin. And then all the episodes after that. We only have 4 episodes left of the season. How insane is that? I hope you guys are ready because here we go.